Hello and welcome to We Got a podcast about Dragon Ball from A to Z, from Earth to Namek to Sadala. We cover it all. My name is Randy.
And I'm the warrior who surpassed Goku, Doug.
And I'm Usu Kenoro.
All right. We're the world's strongest under the heavens trio to dangers here every other week to talk your ear off about fights, goofs, and everything else in the Dragon Ball cosmos. Douglas, how are you doing,
What's up,
my
buddy?
friend?
I'm doing fantastic. You want to know why? Boom, quick shot. Got this figure. Boom, amazing. Got Dragon Zord, Tyrannosaurus Rex from Power Rangers. It's incredible.
Well, no,
See,
that's
it's
two
still in the
different things.
What did I say?
Dragon Zord,
No, it says
T-Rex.
It says Dragon Zord on there. Oh, Dino Zord. My bad. You're right. Got this little useless figure. I don't even know. Yeah, there it is.
Oh, that's cool.
It's
multiple different
of all the Gokus.
Yeah.
Way too expensive.
What was that first one so that audio listeners know?
Oh,
Was
I'm sorry. It's like a mech desktop McCoy figure of Goku and Gohan riding on a mech. It's so dope.
Yeah, it's those mechs from Kakarot that are like the worst part of the game.
I got a cooler.
Ooh, which one is both?
Yeah. Well, no, sorry, but I got both.
So it's
both.
regular and listeners know
And
Metal Kula, the most celebrated villain on We Got a Podcast.
Oh, the fucking worst. But yeah, I got both on there.
Just for you, for those of you who follow our Twitter, anytime there's a Movie 6 related retweet, just know that's from me because
Just
these
know
two
you
don't want to be
definitely
associated with it. Yeah.
And then
Final form Kula. Very nice.
the best one.
I love Kula, dude. I cannot
Yeah,
wait.
He's great.
I think we should, you know what? Hot take. This is not a take of any kind. When we do movie 6, we should just do 5 and 6. Double feature.
Yeah, let's do the whole cooler anthology.
I mean, we all
saga.
love 5, so there's nothing behind that, but
That's true. Okay,
down.
we could do that.
so that way you guys have something to enjoy for half of the episode.
Are we
It'd
gonna
be
do
so
it
much
backwards?
better.
Watch 6 first, then 5, just so we can.
Right.
I know.
Oh, yeah.
Because otherwise we'll be checked out 50 minutes in. Be like, well, now we're just
Yeah,
kind of here, aren't
You
we?
really realize it a lot more about the lore if you watch it backwards.
Ah, yeah.
Makes sense to me.
Well, I'm glad for your big haul there, Doug.
Thanks,
It's really
man.
good stuff. Ken, how are you doing?
I'm on season 4 of Frasier.
Oh, it continues.
I'm blown through that show. It's just, to me, I can't binge dramas anymore unless it's, and I wouldn't even say Breaking Bad, because to me, Breaking Bad is honestly a comedy. Like, so, because I'm watching Fallout too, right? And Fallout, they dropped all 8 episodes at once, and I have been spacing those out. So I'm only halfway through Fallout right now. Because I'm just like watching it, and then I'm like, let a few days go, and then I'm like, let's watch another episode of Fallout. And
okay, that's cool.
that show I could not binge, but I really love spacing it out like this. But Frasier and Comedies, I can sit down and watch like 9 episodes in a row. Just blow through
Yeah.
them.
Yeah, when it's comedies, yeah.
Yeah.
When it's comedy / Breaking Bad, yeah, I can do that too.
Well, now Breaking Bad is hilarious. Breaking Bad and Better Call Saul are like,
It is.
they're dark
Especially
comedies.
When you skip a lot of the Skylar scenes, which I love
Okay.
her as a
All right,
character.
here we go.
She's a necessary character, but I just don't enjoy watching those scenes.
Skylar is great. Anyways, and then I have started playing Dragon Ball Z, or Dragon Ball Kai, Attack
yeah.
of the Saiyans.
Yeah, I can't believe you never played that before.
I never played it because I wasn't interested in playing something that was just the Saiyan arc. That
Dude,
to me
but
that
the
was like,
whole
why
RPG
would
aspect
I?
didn't.
Why would I do? It's like you give me a sandwich and you've cut off like 3/4 of it. Why would I want
Of
that?
course. You just ignored the whole part where it's like just an RPG where like, one of the first times ever, it's such a cool game. No matter what story arc it goes through.
The reason that I've started playing it is that I've never really messed around with DS emulation before because DS emulation on a computer, I don't like it. You know, the touch screen is so integral, and so having to like mouse over and click on stuff. There's no like touch screen interactivity in Attack of the Saiyans, but
I didn't think so, no.
Apple just cleared the way for emulators to be put on iOS.
Oh, no shit.
And so it is a perfect way to emulate DS games. And so
now.
Once you got a touch screen, it's it gets wild.
And so I've started playing that. It's a lot of fun. You guys should have told me that there were timed guards in that game, because I love timed attacks from Super Mario RPG, and this game has timed guards in it. Everything about it's great. There's only the Japanese cast in it, so there's no dub voices. Beautiful art, like it's sprite work and little animations and cool effects, and the music is great. For those of you who watch the YouTube version of this show, and I forgot about this until I started playing the game and saw the world map. The world map that's the background here that you see here behind us is from Attack of the Saiyans. That's where I got it from. So anyways, really cool game. Maybe somewhere down the line, because you guys have both played it.
Yeah.
So maybe...
No.
Oh, Randy.
You haven't either, Randy?
Well, Randy, it'll take you like 20 minutes. It'll take Randy 20 minutes. When I beat it in like half a year, then we can kind of get together.
Dude.
Maybe we can have an episode about that show.
Did we do like a favorite games?
Game.
And I forgot to include that on the list because that is definitely like one of my favorite games of all time, like Dragon Ball wise.
I think
You have not done
it up.
favorite games.
Then yeah, that's definitely up there. Dang.
I'm
You guys are
taking a
missing
look
out.
at
That game is fantastic.
taking a look at howlongtobeat.com. Just main story 23 and a half hours, main plus side 29, completionist 35. So that's not terrible for an
No,
RPG.
not at all.
So,
It's really
it
cool.
breezes by.
You start the game as Kuririn, Tenshinhan, and Yamcha.
Yeah.
And like
Yeah,
I haven't,
interesting.
I've played the game for like 2 hours. I haven't seen Goku at all.
Yeah.
So
And they introduced like a combo system, so it's like you're working together too. Oh man, I want to play that game again. You got to send me the link for the emulation thing. So
allegedly, all of this has been alleged talk, by the way.
yeah, of course.
and I allegedly
allegedly
have it on my alleged modded 3DS. So I'll be ready to go whenever.
I think I have
Well,
my official
awesome.
3DS and my official game copy of the game I could just play, but give me that emulation.
You always got it in your pocket. So that's
Yeah.
how you do it.
Yeah. Randy, what have you been up to?
Oh man, you know, it's very funny, Ken. This was one of your things that you introduced, and I'm taking it over. I've begun Evangelion Anima novel 3.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm like 16, 18 chapters into that. Here's the thing. It's finally spring. It's starting to warm up, but I'm an inside man. I don't like to go outside, but now I got this audiobook and I can't do anything else. Otherwise I will totally lose whatever is happening. So now I'm going on walks all the damn time so I can just listen.
Oh.
Yeah, so it's been
Ava's
great.
encouraging you to go out there and walk as well. That's wild.
Yeah, the problem is that they're only up through the first 3 novels right now. So I'm going to have a crisis in about a week when I finish this of like, do I wait for more audiobooks or do I just sit and read the other 2?
See, that's why I'm not blowing through it. I am still reading them, and I'm like a fourth of the way through book 2. But I'm just taking my time because I know at some point I would otherwise catch up like you are.
Right. They have been going pretty fast and furious with them, though, because I think the first audiobook dropped like in October, and then 2 and 3 came out last month.
Yeah.
So, you know, maybe fall they'll all be out.
Yeah.
So,
And Randy, you have told me that I am not ready for what happens at the end of book 2. So we cannot
cryptic
stress
ass
enough. And we've said this before, and we're probably going to keep saying it as long as we're talking about Anima and we're reading it. It's incredible. If you like Ava, you have to check this out. It's so, so good. It is the world's best official fan fiction. It's just, but it feels like the end of Ava happened differently. This feels like what would have come next. It's just like, it's so good. It's so good.
yeah. Other than that, I finished another game, Penny's Big Breakaway, made by the same developers who made Sonic Mania. And
I think I might have heard about that one.
Yeah, you are a like jester girl who does yo-yo tricks, and you get a special yo-yo, and you can...
Did you finish X-Men 97 yet, or the original X-Men show?
Oh, I'm still making my way through, so...
He refuses to tell us how far he's been through.
Well,
True.
I don't understand why, but...
The newest Mario Kart lore.
I'm here for the bit.
You'll find out.
Yeah.
I'll reveal it at the right time.
I have been watching X-Men 97,
secret I don't
and I've
want.
never seen the original show.
Same. I've seen bits and pieces, as a kid, but...
I know enough. I know Wolverine, he's got the claws, and he says snicked bub.
yeah.
I know enough.
I find myself doing a lot of Wolverine impersonations now. I
you?
feel like I can do it okay. Yeah, I mean, I
tell you,
can pull off that voice okay.
I feel like going into X-Men 97, it has been an adjustment to get used to the voices for these characters because they're so far away from what I know from the movies and I've seen X-Men Evolution with, I think Steve Bloom was Wolverine in that, and he's been Wolverine in a lot of different things. So to me, it's like Hugh Jackman or Steve Bloom is the voice of Wolverine,
be
not
one or the
Cal
other,
Dodd, where he sounds like this instead. And I'm like, that's Wolverine.
It's very funny when I jumped into watching the 90s series. I was like, everything else that I've watched, I've felt like this isn't what Magneto sounds like. And then I started watching the 90s one. I was like, it's going to unlock in my brain. This is what nope, that's not what I don't know what it is in my brain.
He should sound like this, Randy.
Is that supposed to be Ian McKellen?
Get out of my head, Charles.
See, audio listeners think we just had Ian McKellen here.
Yeah, he is. All right,
in
bye,
person.
Ian McKellen. Thanks for coming by for that.
Goodbye, dog.
Wish he stuck around for what we were going to talk about, because we should actually jump into our topic.
Oh, we're not just bullshitting for an hour?
Surprisingly, no. We're here to talk about something very serious, a serious topic, serious discussion, serious debate. Let's talk about Son Gohan. Is he a fighter? Is he an intellectual? Is he just a family man? Who is Gohan in Dragon Ball? So we want to sit here and we want to talk about who he is. And I'm excited for it because he's a good character.
Great character. What do you mean good character?
Where do we kind of fall on Gohan in general before we get into like tracing his story through? Where are we with him?
I like him a lot until, I don't know. I like him a lot until I sit and I really drill down into the things that happen in the story. I'm like, oh, maybe I don't really care so much. Not that I dislike him. I'm just like,
You just did whatever on him? I used to be like that, where I just didn't really. Well, I loved him up until the Cell arc. The usual thing where it's like, oh, then he lost his steam. But then now, in retrospect, like looking back on the character and realizing everything about him, yeah, I love him through and through.
I don't think Gohan cracks my top 5. However, I think next to Vegeta, he's one of the best written characters in the series.
Oh,
so like
I
can
agree that he's handled well. Yeah,
I look at Gohan objectively, and he's great. But subjectively, no, he's not in my top. He's probably in my top 10, but not in my top 5.
Wow, he might be in my top 5. I don't know the numbers, but I know he's up there.
I think he's a great character. It's just
what does that
he's
mean?
no Mr. Satan. Come on, man.
Okay,
right. That's very true. Well, I wrote out a long thing. This is like, here's the timeline of Gohan throughout the story, and I'm not saying we read it all, but I don't know how do you want to take this? I know that I'm kind of. I don't know. I introduce all the topics, so I should be the one that knows where it's going. But is there anything specific about Gohan that you want to point out that just like, you know what, I really like this about him, or I like this point for what he does, for how he faces certain things. So
I was actually in the shower earlier today, and I was thinking about this very subject, about what is it that I like about Gohan. And I like that he is a character with a strong moral code. And I feel you can't really say that about Goku, right? Like Goku knows when something's wrong, but Gohan knows when something's right. And like, for instance, right, going to Planet Namek, because it would be the right thing to do after Piccolo's sacrifice for him, right? He makes that huge argument, tells Chi-Chi to shut up, and advocates for himself to go to Planet Namek because that's the right thing to do. When they're on Namek and Frieza and is having Dodoria, right, attack those kids. And then the right thing to do for Gohan is to intervene. And so Gohan is like this, he's the hero of justice, right? He's the great Saiyaman all throughout that story, because he has this moral code that his father doesn't, not that Goku is a bad guy. Isn't there some quote about Goku is that he doesn't do good things, that good things just happen as like consequences of the things that he does,
things he likes to do.
Yeah, so, I mean, that's an extreme way to think about it.
Yeah. But I definitely get that point.
It might be a Toriyama quote. I'm not sure. It's him or Nozawa or
maybe,
someone. Or I'm making the whole thing up and I dreamt it. I'm an AI and I'm hallucinating.
You're too deep in that rabbit hole. I like that he's like basically a guy that steps up to when he's needed. He's not a Goku that is like already there. Goku is someone like, it's up to me. No one else is doing this. I gotta do it. And he does it almost always in flying colors.
And that was actually a bit of contention for us when we were reviewing GT, and we got to the evil dragons, and Goku and Pan fly off, and then there's that scene with Gohan and Videl, and they're just at the house being like, I hope everything's all right.
Sipping tea, man, I hope Pan's not dead.
It's not like Piccolo died for all of this or anything. I'm just hanging out here.
Such a weird way to take his character, man.
I sort of want to point out a thing where I like that he steps up when he's needed. And I think it's just kind of a neat thing earlier on in the story where, he's introduced and he's just like, oh, he's kind of a wiener. He's not going to be a fighter because Chi-Chi doesn't want that to happen. And then he's the one that kind of turns the tables fighting Raditz, even though he doesn't really know that he's doing it or anything like that.
Right.
And so then he's like, oh, okay, I train kind of against my will for Vegeta and Nappa, and slowly kind of builds up his own confidence into doing this thing. And then like, yeah, I'm going to be there and I'm going to be this warrior that helps them. And then they kind of get this really good attack off on Nappa, and it hinges on Gohan getting in that last attack, but he's 5.
Yeah.
The realism kicks in. Yeah. He's just scared.
Sees this huge dude coming right at him.
What am I doing here? I don't belong here.
This is insane. It just runs to hide. And it's like, if you're watching an action cartoon, you might be like, oh man, what a loser. He just ran away. It's like, put yourself in that situation, man. Like,
you're 5.
Yeah. Much more realistic.
That is one of the things about Gohan in the early parts of Z is that, he is 5 years old.
Yeah.
And like, what 5-year-old do you guys know that would ever behave the way this 5-year-old does?
That.
And the way
crazy.
The way I've rationalized it over the years is that it's like in the same way that Saiyans advance strength, right? It must be like a Saiyan thing to adapt to a certain like higher awareness of the world around you at an earlier age. Because he's not acting like any 5-year-old would, right? You look at Marin in the Boo arc, and she's 6 in the Boo arc? It's 5 or 6, and that's like a believable 5 or 6.
Oh,
that's the way a 5-year-old
like
acts.
A 3 or 2-year-old in that instance compared to Gohan here. I wonder how much more impactful it would have been for us in America, because like we a lot of us start with Z, so we just see this whiny kid being a 5-year-old, which is kind of natural. But to go from like the stark contrast of Goku, where we grew up with this kid who isn't afraid of anything and is just like gung-ho about fighting and just doing the impossible, and then to cut to like, oh, this is his son after all that. We didn't really get that. We didn't get that in America as our first introduction to him. And I just wonder how much more impactful.
Gohan's really not that whiny once he starts training with Piccolo.
It's just very impressive too. Yeah, he's like, I'm here. I've accepted it. I have to go train and live in the wilderness. Yeah.
And I think he does, Ken had brought up that he knows what's right. And I feel like we see him step up a lot in the Namek arc just because there's so much injustice going on there that he kind of like puts himself in that situation over and over and over again to try and make things right. He sees Dodoria doing that. He's, resisting against Vegeta to get the Dragon Ball. The Ginyu Force shows up and like, he doesn't stand a chance against Raccoon or anything like that, but he's still going for it.
Where do you think he learned his moral compass from though? Cause like, is it through like natural, like through Chi-Chi maybe teaching him, or just him reading a lot and learning a lot about the world because of Chi-Chi teaching him a lot of stuff or whatever? Like, he learned more about the world, because I don't know if Goku's teaching him the moral compass type stuff or what, you know what I mean?
This is actually something that I think the filler of the Saiyan arc probably fills in better with the whole robot thing and the orphans.
Yeah, probably.
That fills in a lot for Gohan. But beyond that, I mean, yeah, it's probably you're looking at like Chi-Chi and Gyumo. And
just like reading a lot of books makes you a more well-rounded person because you know more about the world, I guess.
Yeah, that's totally possible. I never even thought about that, Doug. That's a really good question and insight, because like, who does he have exposure to?
Yeah,
up to the beginning of the series, it's just Goku, Chi-Chi, Gyumao, and books. So
yeah,
yeah. But
makes you think.
Yeah, I like that thought of the filler kind of filling that sort of that thing in, because we see him getting to interact in so many different new situations.
I can't believe we didn't get that robot episode here in America for a while too. What a great episode,
right?
But yeah, the whole, Gohan abandons his training in the filler, right? And he's like, I'm going to go home. And then he has the whole thing with the orphans, and it like renews his resolve.
Yeah.
And I think that's like, yeah, it's just a filler episode in a long string of filler episodes in Z, but that's such a pivotal, important character moment for him that fills in the blanks.
That's very true. And then he finally gets home.
Yeah.
And then he right before he's right almost at the door, right before he gets there,
sees
he's like,
Chi-Chi in the window.
he's like, no, I gotta do this. I gotta stick with it, which is really great filler. Like it's, man.
I'd have to take a look to see how far ahead the manga was at that point. But that's one of the nice things about doing an anime that's after a manga has come out, is that you can have like foresight. You know where a character is going to end up, even if it's maybe only, the manga might have only been with him being like, I am going to go to Namek. And then when you have the animation team, they're like, well, let's put some seeds in here to kind of plant.
To more flesh it out.
Right. To show you why he has this sense of resolve at that point.
Otherwise, you put a Goku spaceship that should have been destroyed or whatever, projecting a moon into the sky and ruining part of the future plot.
I had mentioned before that when I think about it or kind of analyze it, maybe I don't think Gohan is as an interesting of a character. And I think it mostly boils down to, I was sitting here typing out, going through my memory of like, okay, what does everything that Gohan does in this story? And I get to the androids and cell stuff, and I'm like, he kind of just is there, or like isn't, and is like, oh, I've got to bring Bulma and Yajirobe over here and Trunk, and like,
because he doesn't need to. He can be our relatable Earthling, a relatable protagonist that is just like these crazy. My dad and Piccolo, these crazy strong aliens are doing this thing. I just want to be chill until the very end. After all that, it's up to me. Like that's what makes it even more powerful to me.
Yeah, he has to take a step back in the early Cell arc, the android stuff, because there's just so much other stuff going on. They've introduced Trunks, and so Trunks is taking a lot of time because he's integral to the plot. No one's dead, and so you have the whole cast back again. Whereas, Gohan really shined when everyone else was dead, and it was just him, Krillin, and Bulma on Namek. And that was your core cast. But now that everyone's back, it's like, okay, well, I don't have anything for Gohan to do right now. Yeah.
And I do like that, though, like in retrospect.
Right. And granted, it kind of works talking about the Cell stuff, but we get to see in the Trunks special what Gohan would be like if he continued to grow up and lived in this sort of world, where again he's showing
forced to have to do the right thing.
Right. And that's kind of his thing. Like he is kind of like seen as the people's hero, showing up on the scene to fight them.
The fandom who wish Gohan was always like this, always see like, this is what Gohan should have been. It's like, no, Gohan's living a life he doesn't want to live. He doesn't want to be this like badass hero. He's just forced into it because he's the only one that can. And because he's the only one that can, he does do it. Like he's that good of a person that he does it.
Isn't that also part of his speech against Cell? Is that like, I don't want to do this.
Yeah, that's the whole revelation that people always just kind of forget about, like, because then he has a badass transformation. But he's like, yeah, I don't like fighting, and that's like Piccolo has to make Goku realize he's just a kid. He doesn't have that same passion you do for fighting. And then Goku's like, oh shit.
Yeah.
However, Goku was still right. He still made the right call.
I mean, he made the right call, but his son is not happy about it.
Right. For the wrong reasons. Those sorts of things came about. Jumping ahead to the Boo arc, I really enjoy the time we have with Gohan in high school. And, he just finally gets to be the little nerd he always wanted to be. But now also he's like, you know what? I actually do like saving people, and I don't have to train to be the world's strongest fighter anymore. Like, they're just street thugs and burglars.
Does he like it? I mean, probably he does like it, but it also comes from that need, from that necessity that there's a bunch of crime out here and no one is able to do anything about it. I'll do it, but I need to do it in disguise. Might as well have fun with it, because it's not like a Cell level threat. It's like little minuscule crimes, but no one's taking care of it. I need to take care of it. Have fun with it.
And like,
I think he does like it because Videl is there. And she always shows up like shortly after him. So it's like, I don't have to do it. She could do all of this.
That's true. But that's his sexist coming out, where he thinks that women can't do it. I'm partially not kidding. I mean, who would have taught him all this stuff, Like, so maybe he's a little sexist about that until meeting Fidel. And
he lived alone with Chi-Chi for the last 7 years.
Yeah. I think maybe less sexist and more like racist, not in like a hateful way, but in like you're a human,
a full Earthling.
Yeah,
you're a full. You can't do this. Yeah.
That's fair. I don't know. Then throughout the rest of the Boob arc, I don't know. He also kind of gets tossed around, just being like, okay, now you're kind of the main character, and then Goku comes back, and okay, now you're dead, quote unquote, but you're totally fine, and we're going to take you to the world of the Kais because you're the chosen one who's going to pull out the sword, and then that doesn't really go anywhere. We're just going to power you up, and you're going to go fight Boom. Oh, but
the way to think about that is Dragon Ball, ever since Piccolo Daimao, has been waiting for Goku, right? And what happens is that in the Buu arc, it becomes waiting for Gohan.
Mm-hmm.
So we have Gohan involved in the tournament, and then he goes and he fights Dabra, and then Buu appears and he fights Buu. Buu wastes him, and then Gohan ends up in the Kaioshin realm. And then from there, we're in the waiting for Gohan period, where we know as the reader, Gohan is doing his training. He's going to pull the thing out. He's going to smash it. Elder Kaioshin's going to come out, and then they begin the ritual, right?
Yeah.
mm-hmm.
And meanwhile, everything's going to hell on Earth. And so the shift becomes from waiting for Goku to waiting for Gohan.
Yeah. Because you've already accepted that Goku's not coming, because he himself was also like, nope, we're going to make this the Wait for Gohan show.
Yeah. You don't have any idea that Elder Kaioshin can just go, oh, give me your halo. Put it on me.
Yeah.
I guess
part of that Toriyama comedy coming in.
Yeah.
I've lived so much of my life knowing how the Buu arc goes, so I'm just like, okay, well, I do know that eventually it is just Goku that kind of saves the day. So anytime we are kind of waiting for Gohan, I'm like, yeah, but I know where it's going to go. But if you look at it where you don't know, yeah, you are kind of waiting for Gohan to show up and save the day.
And that's just the detriment to how much Goku is the spotlight. No matter how hard Toriyama can try, Gohan just doesn't fit that bill of being the main protagonist. It's unfortunate, but
we touched on this in our last episode, but I want to bring up again about Gohan as the Great Saiyaman and his theatrics from that possibly being due to his exposure to the Ginyu Force at a young age, and remembering that, because the poses and stuff are very similar to the kind of stuff the overacting. He's not a bad guy, but it's the same way that Raccoon.
It's definitely not in real life. Real life is just Sentai stuff, but in the universe, I like that putting that together, that it could be an influence from the Ginyu Force.
Mm-hmm.
And then, to me, honestly, and I mean this as unironically as possible, one of my favorite Gohan moments is when he says Usunoro to Buu. Because you have to understand that this is an extremely offensive thing to say to someone. And for it to be coming from Gohan, right?
Is that the insult that he says to him?
Yeah.
For calling him mentally deficient.
Okay, that one.
Ways.
Yeah.
Slow, but in a slang terminology, meaning mentally slow or so anyways, it's like Gohan shows up and the only thing he can think of is I have to say something badass, and Gohan in his typical nerd fumbling way says this. And you have this crazy reaction from Piccolo, Goten, and Trunks, who can't believe that Gohan just said that.
This guy.
It's such. But then they just move on to the next thing in that fight, and they don't linger on it. But it's such a hilarious, the kind of thing where you don't know what to do, you don't know what to say, and you're I have to say something cool. And
he wants to be an edgy person, and just because it's the 90s, that was the edgy kind of thing to say. And now it'd be you're a Hanji main or whatever. That's the same modern version of it.
It seems like that's a lot of Vegeta influence in that period where he shows up and he's I'm going to be like Vegeta here for a second. I'm
going to use that toxic masculinity and see if that comes off as bad. That's when I say it.
Because I get the impression that Gohan maybe looks up to Vegeta in a certain way. Respects him, yeah. And so that might be this is kind of an ode to Vegeta, because that's the only other character who would ever say something like that.
Yeah, I guess Goku wouldn't say it.
Yeah.
Who is mega confident and intimidating.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, he also is a teenager. You got to remember that. He's still in high school, and that's what high schoolers are like.
So what do you think Toriyama was trying to do when the whole trajectory of Gohan through the Buu arc is that this is our guy, right? This is our guy that's going to save the world. And then Buu absorbs Gotenks. So what do you think was... Because it is something that gets set up before Gohan shows up The whole thing where Gotenks says something like, "Oh, this fusion only lasts so long," and then you have like a small little panel of Boo being like, "Oh," and you see him start like piecing together his plan. So this is set up before Gohan even shows up on Earth. So what do you think was like the theming, or what was Toriyama trying to say by being like, we're going to set Gohan up all this way, and then we're going to pull the rug out from under him, and we're going to Genki Dama?
I think it's just to keep the reader, or to surprise the reader, and just to be like, all right, we've set expectations all the time of like, we're waiting for this one character, and when they show up, that's when we turn the tables, and we're going to pull out a victory. And you wait for it, he shows up, and oops, nope, not happening this time. We're going to figure out something else.
I doubt if that was even though like the plan, like he didn't see that far. Toriyama didn't see that far ahead into pull the rug under. Like I feel like he's just the genius Toriyama and just going week by week at that point and planting seeds in case, and then the in case happened, you know?
So if you think about that waiting for Goku thing, right? When you wait for Goku, waiting for him usually works out. And he'll save the day. And so now that it's been flipped, now you're waiting for Gohan. And so you're like, oh, all right, it's going to work out. Gohan's just going to save the day. And then Toriyama's like,
is
no.
its chance to like not make it succeed.
Yeah. And Toriyama's like, I gotcha. That's not what's happening. And it
has been built up for a long time.
Yeah.
You're right. Like that Gohan wait. Yeah.
And I think, honestly, ending with the Genki Dama is a better ending than if Gohan did somehow win.
But do you think Toriyama had that plan since the Gotenks stuff?
I think subconsciously, yeah. I mean, I think there's some... Grant Morrison has this book. Grant Morrison writes a lot of comic books. He has a historic run on Batman. He's done a lot of Batman comics, and he's probably my favorite American... Well, he's not an American, but my favorite Western comic book writer, all out. He has a book called Super Gods, and it's part biography, part... like story of the comic book industry. It's a great book. I highly recommend it. In this book, he says something along the lines of like, a writer doesn't write a story. The story's there. The writer just finds it. And so Toriyama, whether he was planning it out or not, at a subconscious level, he was piecing everything together along the way to hit a certain point at the end. That's what a good writer does.
Yeah.
So
or it almost writes itself.
Exactly. And I think that's where he was going with it. You know, he may not have always been like, I'm going to set Gohan up to pull the rug out from under you, but that's just the clever thing to do when writing a story.
And I guess like, what better way to do that than to like introduce the whole absorbing thing and then also do it to Gohan later on, like leaving it to Goku again. Yeah, that's great.
Mm-hmm. You get into a comfortable rhythm, and then he plays on
break
that.
it.
So, guys, it's 2024. We don't stop talking about Gohan and the Buu arc anymore. We go beyond.
GT?
Oh, we'll get there, but we got to talk Super, I think, because that happens first chronologically. I
guess.
So, trying to think through Battle of Gods, he throws a punch at Beerus and it doesn't really work out, but his whole thing is discovering he's a father.
And that he's a lightweight.
That was cute. And a lightweight, yes. He can't take his alcohol.
Did that happen in the show, or is that just the movie where he gets drunk?
I didn't watch the show part of that, so I don't remember.
I just watched those episodes 6-8 months ago, but I do not recall.
You don't know what's movie and what's TV.
Yeah. No, I remember the movie. I just don't remember if it happened in the TV show or not.
So it's also important to remember that Super just has a different... This is not a Toriyama joint anymore. Yes, he's involved in certain capacities, and yes, there are story drafts from him, but this is not... It's such a different beast and so much more focused on Goku and Vegeta from like an almost conceptual merchandising level.
Yeah.
That Gohan really never stood a chance in Super.
No.
True. I mean, going through things, Battle of Gods, he doesn't really do much other than we get that really sweet scene of, when he learns that Videl is pregnant. That's really, really fun. Resurrection F, I mean, he does show up to fight Frieza and his minions. And he does, out of that group that's there, he is the strongest out of all of them. And they're all kind of oh, damn, yeah, he's really kicking ass. So, until Frieza.
It is so perfectly Gohan for him to lose his gi.
Yeah.
And have to fight in that tracksuit. It's so, that is Resurrection F is not great. That arc in Super is not great. But the little tiny moments that are spread through, And I even like the Ginyu stuff in the anime.
Yeah.
I think that stuff is great. But Gohan losing his gi, I mean, that was a Toriyama thing because that was in the movie script, is such like a perfect understanding of his characters.
Yeah.
And it's loved that because, for Gohan, it's not the priority. That's not who he is.
Never was.
Yeah.
He has the gi. He just doesn't know where it is.
Yeah.
He's juggling a lot of plates, you know? He's studying. He's got a family.
Yeah.
Now he's got to, get back into fighting shape for this.
And that's all playing off of the end of the Buu arc where they're going to the tournament and they have to like coax Goten and Trunks into going. And Vegeta makes that remark about how their children just are not interested in fighting like he and Goku are.
Yeah, it must just be like it definitely is just a pure-blooded Saiyan thing just to want to fight. And just introduce a little bit of Earth Gene into that is just like, I have the strength, but I don't care if I use it or not kind of thing.
Yeah.
Right. I'm looking ahead here. Universe 6 doesn't really do anything because Goku brings up, Vegeta suggests that Gohan join in that Universe 6 tournament. Goku's like, he's busy studying. I don't want to bother him.
And I love that. Again, this is something we touched on last time, but in the Buu arc, Vegeta talks about Gohan like, this guy, if he kept up his training, he'd be the strongest of us.
Yeah.
And Vegeta has like, because this goes back to Buu, right, where Gohan saves Vegeta's life and like screws his arm all up. It's like Vegeta respects the hell out of Gohan.
Yeah.
Just because like of his potential. And then just like,
he's seen it ever since
Yeah.
Gohan was a kid. It was like, even Nappa mentions like something about them combining with Earthlings.
It actually
it's like Super Saiyan.
I think Vegeta actually says it. But yeah.
Vegeta's when I say, okay, so even he's like from the very beginning notices like unemotionally, like it's just what I see in front of me is that this guy is strong as hell if he wanted to be.
Yeah, and you remember like on Namek, after Gohan gets his potential unleashed, Vegeta thinks that's Goku in there.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
And then Gohan walks out and just like looking all stoic, and Vegeta's like, "What the hell?"
Yeah. But it's like Vegeta still sees that he doesn't have the experience that a fighter would have. Like he might have all this power, but he's still just a kid. It's not until Gohan becomes an adult, like Vegeta sees, like if he kept training, he would have been the strongest.
It's the most frustrating, ironic thing for Vegeta.
Yeah.
It's like the most powerful of all of us, and he won't keep it up.
It's like with any like sport or like a pianist, like just want to like working really hard, and then like this fucker is like natural at it but doesn't want to do it. It's like, no, I don't want to do that.
Yeah.
What an interesting
talent.
relationship those two have. I never really think about that because they don't directly interact and like have conversations, but like, wow, they really do kind of have a weird sort of interactions with each other. Yeah. Let's see, the Goku Black stuff. He's a scholar. He's happy with his home life. Kind of invites Trunks over for dinner, and Trunks gets to see like, okay, this is what peace is like.
Yeah.
And
like,
he loves
you get
ice
to
cream.
see, like what I was mentioning earlier, the Gohan that had to step up. This is what Gohan would have been had he not was forced into that life. He would have just been a simple father.
Way back in the day when those episodes were first airing, on the Destructo Discord Discord channel, there was this whole thing about like it was called Go Cream, where it was like shipping Gohan and ice cream together, and so many of us drew a ton of Gohan ice cream fan art. I'll have to find the thread.
I remember that. Like, was that what that was?
I'll have to find the thread of it because it's like I contributed stuff to it. Tyson did. I think AJ. So many people. I can't even name everyone who was in there. But it's so funny.
There's got to be a figure.
I'll have to go find it. Yeah,
they got to make a figure
someday.
Yeah, ice cream. Like,
I mean,
Gashapon.
Yeah, and I mean, like, it's not necessarily a Gohan thing, but just kind of like Gohan, who he is at his core, and is still that even in different timelines. It's like the last thing of the arc is Trunks leaving, and Gohan. Our Gohan, wishing him well and to take care, and Trunks cries because like Gohan finally got to like say something like that, to him. Yeah, and it's just like, it
didn't have the feeling I was hoping for, just because Super doesn't execute things well. But
bad art,
maybe the bad art too. But yeah, I appreciated that.
It's just so cool to see future Trunks with adult Gohan.
Yeah. It's not his Gohan, but like they're similar enough, to their core of their being.
He's still younger than he would.
I was gonna say his Gohan
been.
would have been a lot older still.
Well,
even
actually,
after
no.
that, right?
The way the timeline shakes out, he would have only been a few years younger.
Only a few, so it's about there anyway.
About there, yeah.
Yeah, that's great. You get to see what he could have been, or like,
right.
Yeah. Just because you're good at sex doesn't mean you need to be a porn star. That's like Gohan.
There you have
exactly
it.
like
we
Gohan.
need that on a shirt.
Speaking of a star, right after this, the Great Saiyaman movie is happening, and that's a thing that I don't really remember a lot of.
Oh yeah,
It
was a cute episode.
It's like a 10 episode string of like
What?
Super being perfect. Okay, those are the 10 like best episodes of Super.
Fun episodes, yeah.
In between Goku Black and the Tournament of Power setup stuff that were just like as filler as you get, right? With Super.
Yeah.
Something that is basically all filler. And it's just, we needed more stuff like this. Anyways, that's for another day where I just rant on how much I hate
loved
Super.
it.
But
Just the whole like another girl straight up kisses Gohan, doesn't she? Like, and then Fidel finds out, or like she tells or he tells, and she has no like worry. It's like, oh, like she has that much trust in Gohan that it's like, yeah, I know you forced them. That's not Gohan. Like that love, you get to see that more. You need more of that in the series, but yeah. Love it.
And we haven't even talked about the relationship between Gohan and Mr. Satan yet. Because that's a lot of it in those episodes. Yeah, and that they're so close and just great. Anyways, wait till we do our character episode on Mr. Satan.
Oh my God. Get the next 4 hours.
Lots of gushing.
Yeah.
Tournament of Power, we've got that initial thing where it's like them against the Trio de Dangers. I know Ken's making a face, but I do like this where Gohan goes along and is fighting Lavender and gets poison in his eyes. So they're like, take a Senzu bean so that way you can, get better so you can fight this. And he's like, you know what? No, I'm going to fight blind because I've lost like my fighting edge and like being able to like sense and like all this stuff because it's been so long since I've kind of been in the fight. So he fights blind.
Zero memory.
I remember his purple eyes and all that, but yeah.
Yeah, that's what
my
it
eyes.
is. And then, he trains with Piccolo. He regains his, ultimate state finally through that training. And then him and Piccolo are kind of like in charge of strategy for the tournament.
I guess. Yeah. They choose Gohan for the team because he's a strategist.
Yeah.
And so he's like trying to help them piece together who's going to be on the team or something like that. I don't know.
Yeah,
it's a real
it's team captain.
Real blind spot that I don't really want to fill back in. But in the manga, there's the part where he's fighting. Is he fighting Kefla? And he says,
he does also in the anime a little bit, but yeah.
But in the manga, he has this line of like, I'm not going to fight as a Saiyan. I'm going to fight as an Earthling.
Oh,
something like that.
Cool. I like that.
Interesting.
They try to do something different. Toyotaro did his best with the material he was given.
He has a cool fight here and there, and then gets knocked out in a double knockout with Dispo, and that's kind of where he's out of there. Yeah, the purple rabbit from the.
There's no figure of him yet, so I don't know who he is.
No,
he's in
Sparking Zero.
Yep, it's in Sparking Zero. Broly, MIA, not to be found at all.
They robbed us of Shintani Gohan.
They did. We only have like that one like little short animation thing of
the
like
Toei anniversary or something.
Yeah. That's all we got. Moro, Gohan is busy at a college lecture, but then shows up to, sorry, Doug, some spoilers. He's the one that saves Piccolo rather than the other way around.
Yeah,
fight against 7-3.
Piccolo's fighting this guy, Doug, that can like steal his moves. And he's getting the upper hand on Piccolo, and then Gohan shows up and like takes his glasses off, and it's so badass, dude. Moro arc is great.
Yeah, man. Granola, MIA, also not in that arc at all. Superhero, he's researching ants, guys. This is it. We got to the big stuff.
Hell yeah.
Found one that turns gold.
Hank Pym.
Yeah. Pan gets kidnapped, so he snaps into action to save her. Fights the Gammas, fights Cellmax. We get Beast form.
Give me Gohan back.
I always say that like Gohan is not the main character of that movie. It's Piccolo. And that Gohan is just a weapon that Piccolo aims at the Red Ribbon Army.
It is,
It's very, very true.
Okay, so the thing that's cool about Beast, right?
Mm-hmm.
So if you take Gohan,
I do.
as we have been all episode, you have Gohan, and then you release his potential, okay?
Mm-hmm.
And then from that, he goes Super Saiyan with like a minor rage boost, basically rage in with Goku, but then his real rage boost goes to Super Saiyan 2. Okay, then he has his potential unleashed again in the Buu arc, and then his next rage boost is Beast. So it's like that's what he like. Could he have gotten that if not for having 2 separate potential unlocks?
That's true. Didn't really think about the whole mechanics of how that would work. That's a cool way to think about it. Doug
That's
is
all I do.
unimpressed.
I don't give a shit. It's like, what?
We might as well be talking power levels to Doug.
Yeah.
So.
Well, then let's bring it back to something a little more recent to us fellas. Baby Arc
Oh,
for
no.
GT.
Let's go back to Super, please.
Well, we're not done with Super yet. We haven't finished the
done with
superhero arc.
Yeah,
Well, I
the
didn't-
manga, Randy. Didn't you catch up?
We do
That's
have a...
true.
Doug, did you at least
Goku-
read these chapters?
No.
Oh my gosh.
Oh. So
Really messed
superhero
up.
ends. Goku shows up and kind of sensed what Gohan was up to. It's like, I want to fight that. So he and Gohan spar before
But
then.
it's funny because Vegeta knew all about it. Because like Bulma told him, but Goku has no idea what's going on.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah.
And then they all go to Beerus's planet where all the Saiyans are. It's just, Goku, Vegeta, Broly, Gohan. And they all have some food and they all fight an all out brawl. And it's so fun. Everybody's just having a blast.
Imagine
taking
saying
turns.
this like 10 years ago.
It's good stuff. Doug, we're going to make you read this goddamn manga.
It'll happen, yeah.
And I can't even say words. Manga.
Manga.
There's a Y in there. Don't worry. Miyanga.
Yeah, manga. Mianga. Okay,
Coach,
Baby Arc. Baby Arc, he's a scholar. Gets taken over by Baby. Serves him until he's freed and helps power up Goku to take on Baby once and for all. Did I miss anything there?
Yeah,
There's a
he
suit
missed
vest.
Piccolo dying.
Oh, yeah, where he T-poses. Okay, yeah. Well, cool. I'm glad that we covered that with just one
Yeah, that's
screen.
it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
very cool, totally unearned moment.
Unearned completely.
Super 17, does he do anything?
He fights.
Doesn't he?
Fights Rilled.
Okay.
Remember, he
Oh,
gets his
that's right.
arm turned to metal.
I don't,
Yeah.
actually.
This wasn't that long ago.
No, but that's how memorable
All
it
the
is.
reason I know is because it's in an AMV that I used to watch all the time, where it's just like, yeah, his arm turns metal, and Pan comes to hug him, and they're like, "Whoa, my arm!" And that's it. Why that wasn't in an AMV, I have no idea.
Evil Dragons. He's just waiting for Goku and Pan to do
sipping
their
tea.
thing.
Yep.
Sipping some tea. But then shows up for a last final desperate attempt on
Because everyone
Yi
does.
Shenlong.
We all have
Right.
to be here.
So, in summation, I really like Gohan all the way through.
Yeah.
Not top 5. He's no Mr.
Original
Satan.
Dragon Ball stuff, yeah.
But and even in Super, I do appreciate the constant push and pull of him wanting to just be a family man, be a scholar, go to his studies, but the world it's like every time I think I'm out, they pull me back in.
Pull me back in.
That's Gohan in Super. Is he's like he keeps trying to do his own thing, but the world keeps needing him.
Yeah. I don't think we get that much from Gohan resisting it. Like he's like, I mean, I guess as that's just his character to not kind of the inside worldness of him just makes him want to go out there and train and whatnot. But
Unless he has a conference.
unless
Right.
he has a conference, yeah.
I
then you gotta
think-
coerce him.
I think what you need to do is have Gohan accomplish something as a scholar. Have him be studies medical stuff. Maybe he's the one that discovers the cure to a certain heart disease.
Whoa, that wouldn't.
Hold on. Beep, boop, boop, beep, boop, boop, boop,
Oh
boop.
man, who you
Oh,
calling?
he's got the phone.
Hey, Toyotaro.
Oh, he's got him on the horn.
I got a scoop for you, man.
Remember that storyline you've been looking for? Well, listen to this.
All right, yeah, we'll talk later. What's it? Love you too. Bye.
Are we still on for what?
I appreciate that idea is good enough for you to pull up the Toyotaro phone and give him a little ringy dingy.
I was just tapping the phone. I was tapping the phone, and then I was like, "This is not going to play for audio." So I was like, "I got to do the beep boop beep boop beep boop boop."
I appreciate you going, all out on that. But yeah, I really like the push and pull that, he's got so many plates that he's trying to balance, and he might over concentrate on one thing, be like, okay, well, now I got to go do this other thing. And it's, I don't know, it's kind of a realistic thing for a person. I'm sure you've done a thing pretty hard once before, and they're like, all right, well, I got distracted. I'm doing something else, a different project or whatever. And it's like, I got rusty. Doug, I'm sure you've gone a while without doing an AMV, and then you jump into it like, oh, man, how do I do this? Where's that one transition? Where's this one thing?
I totally get that. I was just going to say that I think that's the problem, is that from the beginning of Z, where Gohan is introduced to the end, like that is a concise amount of Gohan that we need. When you introduce Super and just get more of Gohan as a character, you see too much of it. You start to see the stuff you don't like about him. It's like, no, the Dragon Ball was a very concise amount of time with him, and that's all we should have had.
I'd argue that's the problem with everyone in Super.
Right, because we only have this small amount of time, and we can't have anything really change, so everything kind of needs to stay the same.
Yeah. Goku is lighthearted in the 28th Tenkaichi Budokai, so you just keep him lighthearted all the way through Super. Vegeta has to be in this constant cycle of, I have to go back to wanting to beat Kakarot, which, again, the Moro arc in Granola kind of fixed that. And then and then with Gohan, it's this whole like push-pull. But I think in Gohan's case, maybe it kind of works, and that it's more believable of an arc for him to keep being torn between these two identities, almost two lifestyles. So I guess
the manga.
Of Super, Gohan gets the best like character stuff from it.
Something.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, that's exciting. And you know what? We get to talk more about Gohan, but we're going to hear what you have to say about it once we come back from a little bit of a break. So stick around. We'll be right back. Hey there. Welcome back to more We Got a Podcast, where we are going to listen to what you guys had to say about Gohan this time around. So first up, we've got Cage, who says, easily my favorite character in the series. I formed a pretty deep attachment to him because I watched Z for the first time when I was a kid, so in a way, it always felt like I was growing up alongside him. He'll always have a special place in my heart for that reason. It's very true. I was also a child.
He felt like that relatable character that if you're a crybaby like me, you could definitely attach yourself to, and like, oh, I could be as strong as him one day too.
Yeah, not to date all of us, but we're all the same age, basically. And so we were all about 11 or 12 when we got into the series, in that range. So yeah, we all kind of grew up with Gohan a little bit as well. Yeah, that's cool. Cool way to think about it. Now, the coolest way to think about it would be to like read the manga and then stop for 7 years and then pick it back up.
Right. And every time you come to a time skip, you're like, oh, I got to wait even longer.
Right. Gabby writes in, friend of the show, says, Gohan? He's just the neatest form of wish fulfillment. In a world of big muscles and prideful anti-heroes, you can be timid and kind and still be really cool and kick ass when you need to. And then he transitioned to a dork adult who can also kick ass. Yeah, and then so to give context to this next thing that she says, when I put out the tweet, I asked, what do you love about the character? Any favorite moments? Where do you fall on Scholar versus Warrior? So that's why she's bringing this next part up. She says, why do Scholar and Warrior have to be in opposition when it's way more entertaining if he's both simultaneously?
Yep. That's what I love about the character. It's like complete opposite of toxic masculinity. Like it's like the Aragorn syndrome, where it's just like he has a sweet side that can also be badass when he needs to be.
He's not two-dimensional. He's got facets.
Gabby also has this great Gohan video that she did it must have been 10 years ago or something now, about his Super Saiyan 2 transformation and how, it wasn't that, I liked 16 and now his head is this android is dead now. No, it's about what he represented and what he told Gohan. But yeah, definitely recommend checking out that video.
Jacob Sawyer says, I have always loved the journey of his character. It is one of the best things about Dragon Ball. Gohan is my wife's second favorite character after Vegeta. I am a fan of the Great Saiyaman part of the story and his relationship with Videl. The climax of the Cell arc is the best. I mean, I love that arc. So obviously,
it's great climax.
There is no bad arc. post
Yeah.
Tauquang.
I was gonna say, are you? You're the one to talk.
We're gonna make that a thing instead of just movie 6 being a point of contention.
To the 3 people
Please
out there
address
who
it,
said they
yes.
love the Red Ribbon Army arc, we will go back and we'll do an episode about that arc. We'll go back. We'll revisit it. Like movie 6, we'll go back to that arc.
Not all of us hate it as much as Ken does, but
I don't hate it. Okay, anyways.
No.
Nero Nova writes in and says, I really like the character a lot and has one of the best moments in the series, but my one issue has always been the whole Scholar versus Warrior issue. Feels they never put the Scholar thing to use, so they always have to go and find his fighting spirit again. I guess that's why I really like the Dragon Ball Online story, where he puts all that knowledge to use in a different way to help the Earth learn ki control.
oh, what he does that?
Yeah, so Goten and Trunks start like a sword fighting school, and then Gohan
Not gay
starts
at all.
the ki control, and then like Tenshinhan has a school, I think, and it's
Yeah,
all
I
different
remember that.
things. Yeah,
That's cool. Yeah,
Dragon Ball Online is dope.
They're right. Like, yeah, him not using his scholar, like Randy was saying, they should have like made him discover the cure, or something.
Instead of check out these glowy ants, isn't that rad?
Yeah, I'm not even doing it for the money anymore because I just married into money. So
Yeah. Why try hard? I'm just gonna read about bugs. I read that book about cicadas and it changed my life.
Well, that says more about Gohan again because it's like he already has the money. He's not a scholar for the money anymore. He does it because he wants to learn. He wants to better the world in whatever other way he can. Both warrior and scholar, man. Gohan's the best.
Marcus says, not to start Goku's a bad dad discourse, but Goku is a bad dad in some ways. I admire the way
Aren't we all?
Gohan never resented him for it. He loves his father in a very generous way and always tries to do his best by him. And then included this really great Toriyama illustration of like Super Saiyan Goku, patting
the one
Super
where they're
Saiyan Gohan.
both Super Saiyan. Yeah, that's a great
I
one.
love that one. I also think this one of Toriyama's most inspired moments in the whole series. Gohan is, I'd say, a kinder person than Goku, but he's also capable of cruelty in this moment, and that's something so completely outside of Goku's frame of reference that he can barely process it, which is when Goku yells to Gohan to finish him in response to Cell, and just Gohan, finish him? Like, no, he deserves to suffer more. Like, Goku's like, huh?
It's like it's a twisted sense of his justice, right?
Yeah,
His sense of morality being like, no, he hasn't suffered enough.
He
for this.
deserves more. What he did to everyone. Yeah. That you're right. It's like a twisted sense of justice. Like it's only something
It's
that
like
someone
Yagami
with,
moment.
with such high justice could have to be like, no, he deserves more.
But this also is effectively Gohan's Super Saiyan 1 on Namek transformation, right? So remember when Goku does that transformation, he's like, Gohan, get out of here before I lose myself.
Yeah.
And this is that for Gohan. Gohan has lost himself.
Yeah. It's also a learning moment too, which is like, oh, because I'd let him go, he caused more stuff, and my dad is dead now.
Yeah. Paige writes in and says, my favorite DBZ saga is the Cell Saga. When 11-year-old Gohan transformed into a Super Saiyan 2, I was just blown away. To me, that's still one of the most moving moments in anime I have ever seen. Still feels like the first time watching it every time I see it.
Yeah. Both in English and in Japanese. Like the Japanese just with the narrator and the music. Oh, man, it's so good.
Yeah, can you sing that for us, Doug?
Perfect. There we go.
All right, we're going to get content claim. Let's not.
Okay. I have to say, it is one of the most raddest moments, and in my Dragon Ball playlist that I have is that Team 4-Star English cover of
Yeah, it
Umenehi.
was so well done.
Play that in the car. I scream when Gohan screams for the transformation. It's great.
All right, but have you heard
Goosebumps every
Rocco's Mega 64 version?
Yeah, that one too. That one's so good. Speaking of Gohan screams, every time I hear the Kryptonite song, because of the AMV that has Gohan scream at the beginning of it, I can't not think of Gohan scream.
The camaraderie that Gohan and 16 find with each other in this moment is just so perfect. And it's something that they have not talked about or built to or anything. And it's just, when it happens, you're like, I get it. I believe this moment between these two characters. Now, having said that, if you play Kakarot, you get to have a little bit more interaction between Gohan and 16. Not to say that the moment in the original series isn't sold already, because it is. However, the moments between Gohan and 16 in Kakarot are really nice. And so while I will always tell you to play Kakarot and I will recommend it, I'm just giving you another reason And my voice cracked on that, but another reason
So
for why
emotional.
it's so emotional. You got to check it out.
Man, I gotta check it out.
Christian says lots of people argue about wanting him to fight first and foremost, but I just think Gohan. I just think a Gohan that is happy is the best Gohan to have.
Mm-hmm.
The Buu arc established that we can still have fun and enjoyable Gohan plots outside of him being the hero guy. Superhero expanded on it.
The hero guy.
And, when you already have Goku filling the Goku role, you don't need Gohan to be that.
No.
It's not him. It's like in Game of Thrones when like Arya is gonna be like, oh, you're gonna marry a young lord and be a queen of the castle, and she's like, that's not me. That's not Gohan.
Yeah. GGF, full name TBD, writes in and says, growing up watching the show on Toonami, I never thought much of Gohan, but my sister started watching Kai the first time it started airing on new Toonami, and Gohan, after a bad first impression, crybaby, quickly became her favorite character in the franchise by a long shot, and seeing the show through a fresh set of eyes really turned me around on him. Now, he's easily a top 3 favorite for me. I'm starting to get turned around on this myself, too. Especially once the Buu arc hits and he becomes this big, lovable dork. I think that's something that everyone's kind of like loves about Gohan is the start of the Buu arc.
Yeah.
That's my favorite side of Gohan, so I was glad to see that get more focus in Super Filler. This is a long thread, so we're going to keep going. And in Superhero.
It's good stuff, though.
Never did I think we'd get a project with Gohan as a headliner, and I'm really glad it happened. Hopefully Beast, even if it does kind of look real stupid, means Gohan will be a bigger part of the franchise going forward than he was in, say, the Super anime. In closing, dude got drunk at a friend's birthday party and got his wife shot, and I somehow found it endearing. If that's not a sign of a good character, I don't know what is.
It's the kind of awkward shit that I would do, so yeah.
And then they write in and say, thought you might appreciate this too, the crown jewel of my sister's modest Gohan collection, which she got as a graduation gift to sell of her favorite character in her favorite outfit from her favorite arc in the series. And I'll post it here on the screen. It's Gohan and Erasa.
Oh, cool.
So cool.
For a split second, I wasn't sure if I got her confused with Shatner, but no.
Listen, I did that exact same thing. Last night I was showing that 35 millimeter print scan of We Got a Power to Andrew, and he's like, who the heck is like this other dude? Who's this other chick that he's doing? I'm like, oh, that's... And I had to stop. I'm like, is it Sharpener or is it
Eraser?
To make sure I was getting it right, so I didn't get it wrong and feel like a total idiot. Pseudo Kyle says, Gohan has a special place in my heart, surely like he does with many others. He's an only child until he wasn't, and found family in the likes of Piccolo than Kuririn. He faces intergalactic threats a million times more intense than his dad did in early Dragon Ball. Ken,
Pseudo
get off
Kyle,
my dick.
Pseudo Kyle, we know you wrote Krillin, it's okay. I'm not going to erase these dub terms. If people want to use them, let them use them.
Okay.
Anyways.
I apologize, Pseudo Kyle, if that is your real name.
Lou writes in. So, okay, here's a little bit of backstory in this one. Lou, they're at Ultimate Lumen, and he is always posting like Usunoro Gohan. And so I'm like, anytime I see it on my feed, it's from him. And so when I put together the image, the tweet for this, I knew I was gonna bait him by using the Usunoro Gohan, and sure enough,
hilarious.
it worked. And he wrote in. He said, I like the part where he really taunted a villain, i.e., when he said Nappa's mom had a belly button that stuck out, of course. I love Gohan, though. He's a kind-hearted dork on a different path from his father, but his gentle attitude and dad instincts make me root for him. On the Scholar versus Warrior issue, I don't take issue with Gohan going the scholarly route and treating fighting as something on the side. It's mainly when Super used this as an excuse to watch him regularly be hyped up, only to get curb stomped, that it got old prior to Superhero.
That's what it feels like to me, at least. Just, yeah, from not watching the series a lot, but that's just the impression I got off.
I mean, Super sucks. Now, having said that, I think of everyone, yeah, like I said before, of everyone who gets the short end of the stick, Gohan gets the longest stick.
Polar says, I love Gohan. Top 3 character for sure. I think they went a little too far with the whole not training, gets ass kicked, wants to train shtick and Super, but I love that he got to have a happy life, and now he's a heavy hitter again. He's really winning life right now.
He really is. He got the girl.
got the
He's
girl,
rich.
he's got the hair.
He's
Got
rich
the
as
family,
hell.
got the rich as hell. So mom's happy thanks to that.
Yeah. Yeah, Chi-Chi never has to worry about money ever again.
Yeah.
Yep.
Pika Fan 3 writes in and says, I'm a fan of the concept of Gohan's character, a naive pacifist who recognizes his belief isn't a realistic one. And once doing so, becomes an unstoppable machine while holding on to his positivity as Goku or Vegeta. Gohan is only in the story now because of who he used to be, his Cell Saga character arc, and it's disappointing that he's still in it. I would have preferred if the writers retired him and only return once they have a coherent arc for him to go on.
Yes.
But that's where Gohan as a character ended. Ever since the end of the Cell Saga, Gohan no longer had any further misbelief/arc that Toriyama or future writers could find for him. Not to mention, Gohan doesn't have much of an entertaining of a personality.
Did you see the Great Saiyaman arc?
I was going to say,
Pika
well, I
Fan
don't know
3?
about that. But I do agree with, like, you know, should have retired him. That's what I feel like end of Dragon Ball Z should have been. Like, that's why Super was such a waste of him. Like, yeah.
But
Kind of like,
go ahead.
you know, they're at the end of like the Android stuff. But Yamcha's like, you know what? I actually can't really do anything here, so I'm just
Yeah.
gonna go do
I've
my
got
own thing.
Nothing to offer the story, so I'm just going to do my own thing.
So Toriyama didn't forget about lunch, right? He forgot that he didn't forget about lunch, but he didn't forget
Right.
about lunch.
Right.
He wrote her out of the show or out of the manga. You can't do that with Gohan, right? And so in Super, you have Gohan is this like time bomb, this nuclear option you have. Even though he doesn't want to fight,
Yeah.
he is still like the strongest. And so you always, if you write him out, you can't because the question is always, he's there, he's in this world. He's an option to fall back on if need be. And I mean, they have to fall back on. So I agree. It'd be great if they could, but they can't. He's a loaded weapon.
He should have been so high in the scholarly level that he discovered teleportation. No, scratch that. Just interstellar travel. He's off planet. Oh, they do the off planet stuff with Goku Vegeta all the time.
So you want them to Billy Cranston it.
That's exactly what I was thinking.
Really?
Is that what that is? Okay.
Yeah, they write him
I
off
was
to
gonna
like Aquarius or something.
I was gonna say like kill off Gohan at
Aquitar,
that point, but if you kill him off, you're ruining the whole ending of him being happy with the family, which is the whole point. Yeah, you're right. I mean, he's a freaking nuke just in the back pocket.
I mean, we kept him doing nothing for Broly. We had him doing nothing for Granola. So like, we could clearly do stuff without acknowledging that he's there, existing, doing whatever.
Well, I was about to say Broly happened off-world, but I was thinking all of the Vampa stuff, and that was not involved in most of the story.
And when you do like tournament of power stuff, which is like, oh, go recruit fighters, of course you're gonna think of Gohan. So
Right.
he's forced back into it again.
True. And Spring says he transitions from a timid child to a powerful warrior, showcasing moments of bravery and strength. His pivotal roles in defeating major villains and his unique abilities, such as the Mystic Form and Beast. Yeah, man. He's got some cool shit going on.
That's the thing about bravery too. You have to be the scaredest. You have to be very scared to be brave, and Gohan exemplifies that so perfectly in a character. And imagine if we got Gohan from the get go, like as not a crybaby, as like a confident kid. That wouldn't be as exciting to see because we already kind of saw that with Goku. It's great to see this weak little scared kid turn into one of the bravest characters.
He's the Shinji of Dragon Ball. That's why we like him.
Get
he's
damn
scared,
space
but he's
pod.
gonna
Get out of the damn space pod.
Those comes back down to Evangelion. That's all I'm saying. Is that it? Did we go through them all?
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, thank you to everyone for writing in because,
Yeah.
In the past, and shouts out to everyone who's always been writing in and everything. But it's usually been like 4 or 5 people, and then the last one was like 23 or something,
Yeah,
and then this
Ken
one
was
was
really
14 or
surprised when-
something. Yeah, for this one, I was going to go, sometimes I retweet it from my main account, my personal account, and then I was going to do that to get more exposure for it, and then I looked and I saw like 10 already, and I'm like,
oh no, yeah.
I'm not going to retweet
This episode is going to be a long one if we.
Yeah.
Oh man. So okay, let's I got some other stuff here. So Spotify, if you don't know, if you're listening on Spotify, each episode we add in a Q&A and a poll so that way we can hear what you guys had to say some more. Our Q&A from this last one where we talked about what is the best arc. I asked, What is the weakest arc, in your opinion? We have Julian, who says, Red Ribbon Army, sorry, just too long. Julian, man after my own heart. I appreciate it. Bodega says, I'd say the Boo arc is the weakest. I need to reread it, but the pacing is just so erratic, and Toriyama's art really gets rough, and you can see how burnt out he was towards the end.
Okay.
All right. I gotta admit, the art's not the same as it was.
I swear I feel like there's a Toriyama quote about this, about the art towards the end, but I really like how kind of crazy and sloppy it gets at the end, because it's not bad.
It lends itself more to the comedic tone it's going for.
Because there are still a lot of very detailed panels towards the end. Like, especially, you think of that one of the final chapter, right? Where it's Goku looking over the shot of Goku and Bulma from chapter 1. Oh, and that's like a beautiful shot. So it's like Toriyama, you know, he never lost it. It's just, that was a choice. I think a stylistic choice he went through for that arc. But
a burnt out choice.
He was not burnt out.
That's a special image that is like, that's not a whole like manga chapter that he drew like that.
I think Toriyama was whole-assing it until the end.
CJ Love said, Hunt for the Dragon Balls arc. A lot of iconography, but the series comes into its own more in the next arc. And for Super, Resurrection F and Future Trunks' bad ending doesn't stop the rest of the arc from being fun.
Yeah. The bad ending.
Oh man, we gotta hurry up and get to that Super episode where we clue Doug in on all the stuff that happened in the manga. Because the ending of that arc's a lot better in the manga.
Oh, man,
I'm loaded up and ready to reread.
I'm looking forward to that stuff.
Saban says Android/Cell arc. Nope, go to hell. Just kidding. Says, as I've gotten older, I'm just not a fan of the middle section. Once Cell shows up during the Piccolo 17 fight to the Cell games, there just isn't that much there that I'm a big fan of. I'll respect it. Don't like it.
What? Trying to do a hot take, trying to get us all fired up.
And then our poll was, did we sway you in what you think the best arc is? So winner of the poll, Ken got me, Boo rules.
Nice.
A bunch of people say. Followed by Doug got me, Namek rules. And then me last. Well, actually, I tied. I tied for our fourth option, which was, I'm Randy knows Cell rules, or y'all are all wrong.
So you tied.
I tied with we're all dumb.
Very on brand.
Yeah, so that's good. Loved that. So I think that's it. Oh, wait, no. We got more stuff. I forget. Doug, you always forget.
Oh my God.
But this time it was me.
We almost made it through.
We almost made it. I almost skipped ahead.
Damn it.
But we always close out this show with trivia. Put these two fools in their place, and we get trivia made specially by the trivia deity Zenpai, who came in with some Gohan-themed trivia for you today.
Nice.
So, you got 3 questions. Let's see which one of you comes out on
figure arts of Gohan has been released.
Well, we'll see what the questions are. I don't read them at a time. All right. In which chapter of the manga is Gohan first introduced? Doug's out.
Oh. Which chapter of the manga?
Is it 194?
Doug, you got a guess?
195.
Closest without going over is Doug. It's 196.
Okay. I was in the realm of it, dude. Okay.
Doug would not have guessed that number at all.
Not even at all. No, like maybe 3.
I'm counting that as a win for me.
That's definitely a.
We give the honorary point to Ken.
But I get the real point. Don't forget.
I know by heart there's 153 episodes of the anime of Dragon Ball.
Yeah, I can do anime numbers.
Yeah, I can never remember.
You were pretty damn close to chapter manga, so I don't want to hear it.
Doug is just angry that he got the point, is what it sounds like.
I don't deserve that point at all.
All right, question 2. When Goku first introduced Gohan to Bulma, Kuririn, and the Turtle Hermit, he says that before finding the 4-star ball to give to his son, he found 2 other Dragon Balls. Which ones were they?
Oh, no idea.
Oh, he said it in Japanese, so I don't know. The 2 and the 6.
2 and the 6. Ken, you got a guess?
3 and the 5.
Between the two of you, you could have done it. It was the 3 and the 6.
The 3 and the 6.
So close. All right, last one. What is the name of the book that Gohan is holding on the very first episode of Dragon Ball Super?
Yeah, isn't it like difficult book or something?
It
Is it really
is
something that dumb?
Muzakashi Hon, which is a difficult book written entirely in Roman letters. So
I was all
Problem with Super immediately.
I was all prepped for Zenpai to ask like the Gohan age stuff that got changed from the original
He
printing
does like the
into
timeline
the Tankobon. Yeah.
Yeah.
But no, that's not what it was. But you guys did great.
Thanks.
You're good sports. I really like that. And you, the listener, you're a great sport. And I want to thank you for listening. We love hearing what you have to say, interacting with you, keeping you in the loop. When we talk about our favorite franchise in the world, you can post at us at our socials at We Got a Pod, and you can email us at wegotapod@gmail.com.
Thank you to Rifti Beats for letting us use the track Kakarot Theme Hip Hop Trap Remix. You can find that track and other great music by Rifti on his SoundCloud. Ken, where can the good people find you?
You can find me at Detective X on Twitter.com, which is
Randy?
a link that still works. Still takes you
for now.
to Twitter.
For now.
For me, you can find me at Saber_Breaker on pretty much everything.
And you can find me at Jabaz Doug.
Nice.
Okay, so no one in the comments said anything about the blue sky. So I'm just assuming no one cares. So we're not talking about blue sky anymore.
I can't believe you're even bringing it up now.
Yeah, we're not done. So anyways,
Embarrassing, quite honestly.
thanks for listening as always. Tell your friends. Did you enjoy our conversation about Gohan? You know, we've talked about Vegeta and Piccolo. Those are on the Spotify and will be coming to the YouTube in like a year. So check those out on the Spotify. So rate, subscribe, do all that kind of stuff. Email us at wegotapod@gmail.com, you know, because Randy, have you been checking? We got anything in our mailbag?
I've been checking pretty recently. I want to say I just checked a few days ago. Let's see. Do we have any special surprise goodies from recently? Learn more about our updated terms of service from Google.
Oh boy. All right. Well, not what we were looking for.
To it. Well, I'm going to read it.
Oh.
All right, everyone. Thanks for watching, and we'll catch you matinator.
Do you remember that one time when Gohan was so scared of the Cybermen and so Piccolo went up and like grabbed him, punched him like that, threw him in the sky and then blew up? It was so cool. Piccolo.